this is going to live on forever. This is Marni Brook.
I hope you can
Hi.
prompt me with good questions. Hi, Marni.
Hi, Marni. I'm
Hello.
Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Keith Gunther. I'm with Blog Talk Radio.
Okay.
And Peter Godinez and I are teammates.
Okay.
We're co-hosts.
All right.
I'm also in the IT business. We run the show every Thursday from 5 to 6. We also are on public access television. We're going to be showing this in the next few weeks on Channel 6.
Okay. Exciting.
So we're here because this is the top 50 women in business, and we want to find out what's going on with those individuals.
Okay.
And this is just fantastic to have you here. I'm glad you came to sit down with us because we're getting stories from people about their former. This is a sports show, so talking about what they might have done in sports.
Interesting.
Or with the family, or different ways maybe you feel that you've been turned out to be the great person you are to get this award. How did you get here?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really great question. You know, I think that a lot of it has been really, obviously, the people that I've worked with and the people that I've known that, you know, honestly, I was an English major in college. I didn't know what people would always say, well, are you going to be a teacher? What are you going to do with that? You know, people always sort of assume that's the only thing you can do. And, you know, going all the way back to college, I'll never forget, I went into college as a bio major and learned very quickly that I could not compete in that environment. I just was not really, these were not my people. You know, I could not make my way. And I'll never forget, I was so devastated, and it really kind of took me down to, you know, what am I doing here? And I always thought this is what I wanted to do, and what am I going to do now? And I met with, I met with this wonderful guidance counselor at UCSB who said, you know, what are you good at? What do you like to do? And I said, you know, I've always loved writing and reading and whatever. And she says, you know, this is the time for you to do what you're best at and to enjoy it and to establish a real sense of yourself, get the confidence that you need. Because right now you've broken all that down by being, you know, in an environment where you feel unsuccessful and intimidated and, you know, stupid, really.
That's kind of what college does.
Well, it can.
It
can. But I was fortunate enough that she gave me that advice that I should really try to do what I loved, and I would be good at it, and the experience would give me the confidence I needed to be successful. So, so that was one of the real total turning points for me. I changed my major to totally, and it changed my whole experience. And I ended up absolutely excelling and loving it. And really, I did establish a real strong sense of confidence and myself as a result of that. And so, anyway, you know, and here I am, you know, however many years later, I won't say, in banking. Yeah.
With Manhattan?
Montecito Bank and Trust.
Montecito Bank and Trust.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which,
a local bank.
A local bank.
Great.
I know, I love it. I started with this bank right out of college in '94, and I left for a period of time because I live in Ventura.
But you graduated in '94, you were only 14.
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Keith. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I'm a prodigy. Did I mention that? Yeah. And so... Anyway, the point was I learned a lot of things sort of along the way, you know, about being a professional and sort of setting goals for yourself and understanding that one of the most important things about succeeding is making sure that you present yourself in a way that allows the people that can help you succeed imagine you as a person in that position. So that means how you dress, how you behave, though, you know, just that you have to really be cognizant of that. I think particularly as a woman in business, it's important that you always sort of present yourself as someone they can picture in a boardroom, presenting a loan, or...
So you kind of sit on the other side of the table and say, what would I want to see?
Yeah.
On that side of the table.
Exactly. And I think that was something that I always kind of had in my mind as part of my consciousness. You know, as I move forward with my career. Because this is definitely not really where I thought I would be, but I'm thrilled to be here. Absolutely thrilled to be here.
I think that's the two most important things, is that you a lot of times don't end up where you think you're going to end up.
That's right.
But if you enjoy it, then it makes it a nice destination for
Absolutely.
that journey.
Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting because our show is about women and about men and about empowered women in sports and business.
Interesting, okay.
And there's a book that we quote from a lot by a fellow named Guy Garcia. Wrote a book called The Decline of Men, and it's a New York Times bestseller, and it talks about how when the glass ceiling broke and women started achieving in sports after Title IX in '74, and business in the '80s and '90s, you got a lot more networking, encouraging, multitasking, empowering going on than men had in the past. And that was a great example of what you just mentioned, was that looking at things from that aspect, a man normally wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But we should.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of what is making this a lot more fun now, because what we talk about on our show is when we have women on the show and they give us their tips and things, it's the same thing that the great coaches are giving us the guys.
How interesting.
Terry
Okay.
Schroeder, 4 Olympics, coached the U.S. to a silver medal in Beijing. Marv Dunphy coached the U.S. to a gold medal in volleyball. Terry Schroeder was water polo. We had him on the show, and they say basically the same thing.
Wow.
They're not yelling and screaming. They're very calm. They don't yell at their players.
Right.
And in fact, Terry Schroeder took the time to take his players to D.C. before he even started training them. And they said, Coach, we should be training you. He said, I want you to see what you're playing for.
Right.
So they can have that same picture.
That's right.
He wanted them to see how people see them.
That's right.
You're not just some kid that made the water polo team from Poughkeepsie.
Right.
You're like this big, and he showed them.
That's a great parallel.
And I think what you said is very important too. I mean, I don't think you have to be a gold medal winner in the Olympics to really have that attitude.
Right.
I think that's probably why you're getting one of these awards today, is because you're
Well,
recognized for it.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I had no clue that this is, and in fact, it was funny because I called our marketing department after someone said, "Oh, you're in this. You know, you're one of the top," and I said, "Oh my God, that's so great! I'm sure it was our marketing people." You know,
somebody nominated.
And I know, and so they can nominate. So I contacted them. I just had sort of assumed, and I said, "Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. Now, what do I do? Is there something I need to do about this? You know, I don't know." And she promptly responded and said, "We had nothing to do with this, but congratulations, because obviously somebody thinks that you're doing a good thing." So, yeah, it was really surprising, and quite honestly, this is a pretty great group of women. And I'm people always say this, but I'm very, very honored to be included as part of this group. So
I'm glad you talked to us on the show. We'll have it on demand available.
Okay.
So if you can send me an email, you can watch how this turns
I'd
out.
love it. That'd be great. Okay, great.
Well, congratulations again, Marni.
Thank you, Keith. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Leslie!
Yay!
Thank you so much. We have Leslie Johnson.